Hi everyone, welcome back to Old Time Rock and Roll. I'm your host David Tear, where I've been featuring my personal top 3,000 songs of the rock era from 1954 to 1999. Today I'm up to song number 2843, and it's another Beatles cover. It's Come Together by Aerosmith. Here's the singles cover. And this was released on a really, really bad movie. I never saw this movie, but it was released on the soundtrack of a movie version of Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And it got terrible reviews, and I'm glad I never saw it. And I don't really like most of the songs on this. I've heard several of them. I think most of them don't do justice to the Beatles, including Come Together. I mean, Come Together is actually one of the better ones. I think my favorite one is Got to Get You Into My Life by Earth, Wind, and Fire. They did a good job with that one, but there's some really terrible ones. I mean, Bee Gees did a version of Nowhere Man that made me sick. And I don't know, it was just pretty bad. But anyway, I'm glad I didn't see this movie. But I want to talk a little bit about the band Aerosmith first. Aerosmith was a really, really great band, really, really popular band, and they've had a really long history too. They got started in 1970 in Boston. They were kind of a hard rock, bluesy rock band, and I guess it took them a little while to get started. I'm just gonna go through. Oh yeah, and then the original. I'll tell you what the original lineup was. So the lead singer Steve Tyler, he's the guy in the middle, and a lot of people told me that he puts Mick Jagger to shame in terms of the size of his lips. It's kind of funny because Mick Jagger's always known for having the biggest lips in show business, but I think Steven Tyler had bigger ones even. And he's a really good singer. I like Aerosmith. And they were popular back in the 70s when I was in high school. And I'll just go through their top 10s. They had many, many hits, but I'll go through their top 10. So the first top 10 was called Dream On. That came out in, actually, the original version came out in 1973, but only went to number 59. But then it was released in 76, and it went to number 6. That's one of their most well-known songs. I think it may be my favorite by Aerosmith. And then they had another song called "Walk This Way," and later in '77. I think that's a really excellent song too. And then they had what else did they have? And then they kind of went through a hiatus. I mean, they did have "Come Together," the song I'm featuring today. That only went to number 23. And but then they didn't really have anything for almost 10 years. Their next big hit was called Angel, that came out in 1987. And then after that, they had Love in an Elevator, and later that year. And then in 89, they had Janie's Got a Gun. I think, yeah, actually, Love in an Elevator was 89. And then they had what It Takes, later in '89, and 90. Let's see. Yeah, they only had, I guess, two other top tens after that. 1997, they had a song called Pink, which I've never even heard. And then in 2001, they had a song called Jaded. I think I've heard of this song, but I don't know if I've heard it. But anyway, they were a great band, and they've been around for a really long time, and they are one of my favorite rock bands. I think they didn't do a very good job, I don't think, on Come Together, unfortunately. They really did not do justice to the Beatles, in my opinion. It's hard to do justice to the Beatles. And by the way, the Beatles version is coming up much, much higher on my list. I'm not going to tell you how high. But now I'm going to talk about other versions of the song. So, as you probably know, the Beatles had the original version. It was released along with another really excellent song called Something. These are both really excellent songs. They were both released on their 1969 album Abbey Road, which is one of their best albums. And there's an interesting story behind this song. I guess it was kind of part of their whole hippie movement, their sort of peace bed-in thing, and that, I don't know. The story is that the guy they're singing about in this song, I think he's Timothy Leary. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's the story of this song. And I think you guys know Timothy Leary was a big LSD proponent, so. It was one of those big kind of pro psychedelic, pro hippie songs. But it's a really good song. And And later that year, Ike and Tina Turner, I just learned this. Ike and Tina Turner had a version of the song. I don't know if it hit the charts, but I've never heard their version. I don't know. It's probably good. I mean, you know, Tina was an amazing singer. I don't know about Ike, but and then who else had a version? Yeah, until 2017, um, Gary Clark Jr. along with Justice League had a version. I've never heard this one. But, you know, it's a very popular song. It has a long history and kind of understandable because it's a really good song. And anyway, that's my video on Come Together by Aerosmith. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. You guys rock, and I'll see you next time. Bye.